What's up, crypto junkies? Welcome to an ICO review video. We're going to be talking about Pure Mountain today, and this is going to be a follow-up, and this is going to be the ICO review to go along with the AMA that I did with Jed Grant, who is the CEO of Pure Mountain. Pure Mountain essentially deals with safety and security, online identity safety and security. This is currently or valued in 2015 as a $105 billion marketplace. It is expected to reach $181 billion by 2021 with an average GDP of 6% over each year. So big marketplace, identity theft is real. We have hacks happening all the time. The problem is that each one of these businesses that we commerce with is a hub, and they are a centralized hub and a treasure trove for hackers to grab and pillage your shit. And they get this big long lists. All these are the lists. Every single place has hundreds of thousands, millions of your data points, okay? Office Max, Staples, Kohl's, Ace, Best Buy. In America, what's some ones overseas? I don't know. I'm blanking. You get my point. So different businesses all over the world collect your data, and they collect tons of your data, right? So the stores that you commerce with, they collect your credit card information, your billing address, your shipping address, or mailing address. Banks are constantly collecting, way more secure, granted, they are constantly collecting passport photos, driver's license photos, running credit checks. But even the smaller organizations, your Best Buys, that are very centralized and very vulnerable because they're a business that now has to become an expert in security, they are also storing a lot of your information. They could be storing scanned copies of your passport, scanned copies of your driver's licenses that you are required to give as compliance for getting credit card approvals, your Best Buy credit card, your in-store credit, your pay it later. All of these mechanisms, these credit approval mechanisms, they exist, and they exist on most big consumer platforms. And they are all vulnerable, and they are all wide open to hacks. And that is the main problem going on right now. Pure Mountain is a platform that is taking that risk away in a decentralized blockchain fashion. So the actual definition, or I guess one-liner, for Pure Mountain is that it's an application ecosystem designed to facilitate the commerce and exchange of digital and physical services. Let's try that again. Pure Mountain is at the intersection of consumers who want self-sovereign identity and service providers who need continuous and reliable compliance and efficient commercial service delivery. Trust providers offering validation services to third parties further support the ecosystem, which reinforces itself with network effects through trust interoperability and portability. That sounds better, right? So essentially, we're bringing three people together in this little circular diagram here. We got three groups coming together. We got the consumer, we got the service provider, and the trust provider. And right here in the middle, Pure Mountain is providing all those things together. So they are essentially binding all of these groups together in one without centralizing the location of your sovereign data and of your ID data. And they're also allowing you a very slick way of categorizing these boxes, let's call them, and allowing you to be able to just share these things with keys based off private keys for a certain amount of time and with a certain access for certain people. So this means that all your data isn't shared all the time with everybody. It's specifically what they need. Whereas a bank loan needs completely different information than getting registered for a new class or an online course. All those things require different amounts of data, and Pure Mountain allows you to pick and choose what pieces of data you want to share with each person. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I think that it's absolutely needed right now. It's one of those few things that it is a brand new ICO, a brand new created thing that is being worked on that is needed. So that is why I'm so excited about this, and that is why I wanted to share this with you today. All right. So Pure Mountain's vision is to enable each of us, whether individual or organization, to manage our real-world trust online, to choose who we trust and how we trust based on our own assessments, values, and conclusions about the world around us. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so they're running an ICO. Let's Get this out of there. There we go. Running an article right now. Let's go through the white paper. Let's break this down together. So the big talking point that they have and they reference is the 2017 Equifax hack, which essentially unlocked 146 million Americans' personal information, social security numbers, credit card details, birth dates, and that stuff can be sold over and over and over again. Lines of credit opened up, different interesting things leveraged and used on your name. And next thing you know, you go to use your good name and it is smeared. It is smeared in the mud because of what's occurred. And so that is where Pure Mountain hopes to step in and create something better. Pure Mountain is the first decentralized peer-to-peer trust marketplace that connects self-sovereign identity owners with regulatory compliant service providers and opens a new paradigm for how and where individuals and organizations conduct business. Ooh, sounds pretty cool, right? So we're talking well beyond KYC stuff, but that is definitely a big bonus that would exist, okay? Let's talk through a couple of these points, all right? So essentially, they have the front end for the consumer or the customer, like you and me, is mobile-friendly app. What they offer on the backside is, I guess you could say, decentralized, blockchain-based, or peer-to-peer based components for the consumer and the trust provider to provide the trust elements that the service provider needs to get the consumer what they want. So the trust provider provides the trust elements for the service provider to then approve the service for the consumer. All right, so I hope that's making sense. The thing I wanted to touch on here is because the participants in the ecosystem are identified by their public keys, they can have multiple personas, which is basically their public keys that are derived off the root key. They say personas are useful for interacting with multiple external parties and can comply with different set of obligations and requirements, all stored one time, easy for you. So let's look at the current model that we have. The current model that we have is, let's come over here. Let's get my text back up. Busted this out. I better use it. We've got our driver's license here. We've got our passport here. Just call that PP. We've got stacks of documents that are required for credit card approvals. We've got our history that we need to track, which is through the three credit bureaus. So let's call those the credit bureaus. And we've got to check all these boxes all the time for everything that we want. We got our localized ID. We got our passport. We got our credit card application process. We got our credit bureau rating. And we've got mounds and mounds of paperwork that we have to constantly fill out and shuffle around back and forth. Okay, so this is just to get to the step and to the doorway of a credit card for us in our name, okay? Wow. It's like a little retarded kid typing for the first time. Okay, so that's 013. This is my representation of a credit card, okay? We have to go through all of this and provide all of this, and they take copies of this and they have to store it, and then they have to shred it, and maybe we've got a file opened up at the local bank. We've got a file opened up at the local Best Buy. We got a file opened up at Sears or Kohl's or any place that we want, Amazon, to get this thing over here. So to get this thing over here, we need our credit rating. We need to fill out the application or approval process. We need a copy of our passport or local ID. And God knows what else. We need to sometimes provide earnings proof. And so we need to provide W-2s or bank statements or stubs of paychecks. All of this crap is what? It's paper. It needs to be stored somewhere. It now gets a ton of eyeballs on it. It now is vulnerable. It is at risk. Every second that it is printed on that piece of paper, it is at risk, okay? That is the crux of the problem that we currently face. And that is the problem in every single country, whether first world or third world. So it's just fascinating to me that this is the first solution that exists that's coming out, okay? So here's what we're talking about merging. Here's a sexier version of that drawing I attempted earlier, which is that we've got our self-sovereign ID over here. The Civic platform seems to be the best so far. And we've got the regulatory and compliant services and tools, the regulatory bodies that exist already, okay? KYC chain, Trado, KYC3, really anything. This could be your credit score. This could be any organization that holds trust. Then we have over here the commercial service. Toyota, well, I want to buy my car. So we got to link up with these guys to get my credit rating, and I have to provide these certain things, and it comes together here in the middle. with peer-to-peer chain, okay? So this is a look at what is exactly involved in the process right now, regardless of what you're doing. And since this is using blockchain, since this is going to be leveraging such a unique system, it is making that easier. And it is making it a true peer-to-peer solution. Here's how. The reason why they call it Pure Mountain is because they say, think of it like a mountain, and we've got all these safes and all these boxes in here. And we can unlock these boxes and give people access to these pieces of our persona or multiple personas that are required on what they need, essentially. Okay, so it's our bank vault. It's our piggy bank of all of our pieces of persona that we are sharing with them. The master key is based on a 4096-bit RSA, which would take a very long time to crack just one. So it immediately pushes out the idea of trying to hack. Right now, it's so easy because it's a treasure trove. Remember, we hack into Best Buy and we hack into the central data unit here, and I get lists and streams and lists and streams and downloads and databases of people's information. That's why it's so common right now, is because it's so easy to do. This would be completely removing that. So I can give out this piece to get my car, this piece to go and get my classes set up for the next semester. I can give this piece for a new bank account or a line of credit or anything I want. And I can tell you that running multiple businesses in multiple countries, this really does start to become a pain in the trying to remember just bank account numbers. It can be such a daunting task. But then on top of that, we've got all the other numbers that we have to constantly be referencing and remembering. I hope that helps explain the ecosystem. It is a secured ecosystem that they are providing. So everybody gets their own chain. Every service provider gets their own chain. So as each chain comes onto the Pure Mountain network, they all get their own chain. And so everything is non-centralized, okay? And the data is only being shared as long as it needs to be shared between the user and the service provider. And the trust provider is not changed at all. That is the same way it's always been, and that will continue to be. So now, why do they need a token? What does the whole token part of it mean? So the PMTN, or Pure Mountain Token, is a utility token that's used to measure the value of trustworthiness within the Pure Mountain ecosystem. So this is why you can't buy this. This is why it is rewarded. So this is the trust transfer, and it's given back and forth in the transaction process. In the process of using the network, you get the PMTN. So everybody's paying on the network and receiving on the network, or the ecosystem rather, is being used and fueled by the PMTN token. It is a token that is fully set up through the EU and compliant in the EU current structure and system, okay? So I just want to make that crystal clear from the get-go. So the last thing I want to mention here is that the tokens can be earned through attestations, which is simply an action of trust. Okay, so anytime that a person or organization confirms that another party has honored or failed to honor an obligation, attestations are applied, and which are fractions of the PMTN token. So that's a little bit harder of a thing to understand. I don't understand the details and depths of this myself in terms of how the actual ecosystem will work, but I do know that based on each one of these things, attestation, the parties get micro PMTN distributed. All right, so we talked about market size. Crowd sale, they are running right now. Oh, let's talk about allocation really quick. 40% on the technology, 25% on marketing. I like that. 25% on the corporate development, which is, of course, going to be needed. They're going to need to lobby. They're going to need to bring on companies and organizations to work with. I believe they already have a couple use cases out, but I was just looking through this as I paused and I could not find it. Jed mentioned it on our live stream. They're working with somebody, proof of care? No. They're working with a couple big organizations already, and this is rolled out and working. So that's exciting to me because, partners, maybe it's under partners. Hold on. Peer Chain Protocol. Yep. So there's three pieces, which is the ecosystem, Peer Chain Protocol, and the mobile app. So that gets into that. Partners. Let's try this. I really can't stand this thing that pops up in the beginning. Yep. Okay. Who was it? Major Swiss financial services firm. That's who he mentioned. So these are the partners that they are currently working with. They vetted each other, essentially. So this is the existing ecosystem. And what's beautiful is that as each new service provider comes on and every new trust provider comes on, then it makes it that much easier because the network is going to grow and the user base is going to grow from the service providers starting to come on to the network and use it. So, all right, so we went through allocation. Oh, let's go through milestones. 7,500 ETH is raised. So financial services, building a Pure Mountain ecosystem with our co-build partners to deliver service within the confines of the regulatory complexity of the financial system markets in the EU and Swiss jurisdictions. That's where they're starting, which will be subsequently expanded to North America and Asian jurisdictions as well. That's their baseline development. 12,000 ETH. Attestation. Why do I struggle with that one? Say it 5 times fast. Attestation. Provider program, partner program. We are working to build a vibrant community of traditional, such as Gmo, Mitek, Arid, Next, GBG, Alexis, and Thompson, etc., and innovative such as Civic, KYC3, etc., attestation providers, and will establish a program to engage, educate, and assist the development of useful attestation engines for the Pure Mountain ecosystem. 16,000 ETH, service provider partner program, and the PM TrustCon, which is a Pure Mountain Trust convention that they're planning in spring of 2018. Milestone 4, 19,000 ETH, Pure Mountain Cryptocurrency Advocacy Group, nonprofit industry advocate. That sounds exciting. PM TrustCon Asia, bigger version of the event. Okay, TrustCon, I love that name. 28,000 ETH reached. Then the Pure Mountain Development, Travel and General Services will be expanded upon. 33,000 ETH, open source Pure Mountain Foundation, mobile and attestation engine SDKs. So everything is going to run on an SDK essentially. All of our data, all of our profiling stuff is going to be running on an engine that is just simply SDK. Okay. And milestone 39,000 ETH, they will create the Pure Mountain Standards Group to shepherd the Pure Chain protocol towards RFC so that the protocol can be implemented consistently and widely, and to ensure that the evolution of the protocol happens in a controlled and well-governed manner. I like the goals that they have. They're very direct, very specific. I'm really hoping that this project does extremely well. We currently have a Prima block opened. So this means that you get exclusive access to a discount that other people aren't getting right now, meaning that when you put up and you contribute your ETH to the Prima block, you get a 30% additional bonus. Okay, this is really putting you ahead of the game. And you fast forward, this thing all comes together. You will have more of the tokens to be able to use in this ecosystem of trust down the road. But also too, if you're just a pump and dumper and you like the technology and you think everyone else will adapt this and you just want to make a quick buck, then you're still getting a 30% bonus that you will be able to leverage and use out on the exchanges once this gets listed. So there is the actionables for you. I hope that this helped you guys with making a decision on if you want to get involved or not. There'll be a link underneath this video to the Prima block, and you will get, like I said, the exclusive 30% discount. You've already got access to the AMA with Jed. You can ask me any questions below. I'll try to answer them. You see, I'm not an expert at this technology nor this ICO, but I'm very excited about it, and I know enough to want to get involved. So you guys have access now. You got the 30% bonus rate. That is going on right now with our Prima block. The link will be underneath the video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead and place a comment. If you like this video, smash the like button. You like what we're doing on the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Click the bell notification so that you don't miss out on any future updates. And we'll be dropping more content to you very, very soon, my friends. See ya.